And in my head, the day played out like this. Hey, man, oh my God, we had this guy, Josh. He's going to meet us down there, man. He has all the hookups in New Orleans. We're going to go party. And then so they open the door. The guy's like, Josh? I'm like, yeah. And then, okay, hold on a second. And I can imagine them going, hey, that guy, Josh, you're talking about, he's a fucking kid. He's sitting there. And you sure this is the guy you're talking about? And every single time they would open the door back up and go, like the Josh? And that's why my handle is the Josh V. Because that's where that comes from.
He is the one and only Josh V. Woo-hoo! Golf claps, golf claps. What's up, Josh?
Good. How y'all doing?
We are doing great. How about yourself?
Life is great. I cannot complain. Things are good.
Awesome. Well, before we started, we were complimenting you on the gorgeous wall art that you have right behind your head. It is pretty amazing. So there it is. In the flesh. Vigo. There he is with Ghostbusters. So, Josh, do you have any other interesting art? Okay, yeah, to scale. They are the same height.
So you know the scale.
Yeah, I'll show you something cool today.
Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. Oh, goodbye. He has left. Oh, no. I was going to say if there was any other interesting art, but...
life-size cardboard cut out of Pee Wee Herman or something.
Okay, here we go. This is my favorite thing about these live streams because... Oh, God.
Wow.
Shit. Nice.
This is a prop from the Barbarian movie.
Wow.
My brother got me for hey.
I agree.
My brother got me for a Christmas one year. Relax. And then shh. Lord have mercy. And then this. You'll dig this. Wing Eagle belt. Right? Check this out. It's signed by I'm trying to get Motley. It's signed by a lot of people that held it. So like Bret Hart.
Oh, nice.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ooh. Hulk Hogan.
Never heard of him.
Turkey Slaughter. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Diesel.
Damn.
So I still have a few to get, but
you're on your way.
I'm sorry?
You are well on your way.
I'm on my way.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to segue us into what we wanted to talk about first was something that we all collectively have in common, our love for professional wrestling, all things wrestling. And Josh, do you remember your first wrestling match that you ever watched?
No, I got into it really young. So I got into music, metal, and I got into wrestling about the same time. My cousin at the time was 18, and I must have been like 5 or 4. And he was basically like, "You want to be cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to be cool. Come hang out with me." And then he like showed me, like he sit me down, make me watch wrestling. I listened to bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Danzig, and stuff like that. And that was my first introduction to both wrestling and music. And so, yeah, I always wanted to be cool when I was a kid, right? So I did with my cousin.
That's a good cousin.
Yeah. He was badass. I still thank him to this day. I'm like, dude, if it wasn't for you, I would have got into all this stuff. So my journey continued from there.
And obviously now there's multiple promotions. There's more than just the WWE. And are you watching other products as well, or are you a true to WWE guy?
To be honest with you, I don't have time to do anything else besides the stuff that I'm working on.
Fair.
It's difficult because you have a lot of friends in that world, and it's hard to even check in. I like to come, turn on the TV sometimes to check in on what they're doing. I just don't have the time. It's difficult. Every so often I'll pop it on, but I just really kind of look at WWE. I've checked out AEW a couple times, and I know there's like Control Your Narrative, CYN. Braun Strowman is doing with EC3.
Yeah.
It's just hard to keep up with everything. There's so many promotions. It's a good thing. At the same time, it's also can be it hurts it at the same time, I think. Fair.
Well, I was going to say, it's not going anywhere. So when you do eventually have a moment off, it's there. It's there for you. And I wanted to mention because you did post something yesterday about Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, one of the best to have ever done it. I wanted to know if you have a Scott Hall story, because obviously you had the opportunity to meet him.
I met him like twice. One with Diamond Dallas Page and his 50th birthday in New Orleans. Another time he was doing some signing or something, but I didn't really know him that well. Again, we just met a couple times. Quiet dude, seemed cool, whatever. But when I was young, watching the vignettes of Razor Ramon, he just had this whole cool swagger, and I remember just watching those up to his debut, and I just loved his whole attitude. And obviously, the Scott Hall stuff with the NWO is great, but I loved Razor Ramon. I really loved that character, and obviously what he did with the business in general. I mean, with the NWO, he revolutionized all that. Which is he's an innovator. It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, something we like to ask people that are into both of the worlds of music and wrestling. Do you have a favorite entrance song?
Just based because he was my favorite wrestler growing up. Probably Hulk Hogan. Real American. But I mean, I love entrance themes. Like, I love it. Like, I have a crazy, like, if it's in the era of the 80s to 2000, if you play me a song, I can name it in like 0.1 seconds.
Nice.
Just the intro, just boom, boom, boom. And people have tested that before. I'm like, yep, this. So I love theme songs. Demolition's great. Legion of Doom is great. Ultimate Warrior, obviously. Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin, great.
And he's coming back for a match at Mania, so that should be yes against Kevin Owens.
What?
Yes, Josh.
No.
Yes.
Match?
That's what they're promoting it as. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I think it's really exciting. And it's probably the thing I'm looking forward to most this WrestleMania season. So it should be cool.
That's pretty cool to hear. All right.
Yeah.
Got me interested.
Well, okay. So let's say you, Josh, you're making your grand debut as a wrestler. What would you want your entrance song to be?
A New Level by Pantera.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Great rip that kicks in, but the lyric, actually, I listen to that song almost pretty much every day before I go on stage.
Wow.
It's just a powerful riff, but the lyrics are very significant. I grew up in Louisiana in a small town, and so the lyrics are basically about like people stepping on you until you can't do anything and not making it and achieving this new level of confidence and power, which is the chorus to it. So to me, that always resonates. That amps me up before I go on stage.
Fair enough. Well, since you did bring up New Orleans, what was the music scene like growing up there? And was there a music scene? And what was popular?
Yeah, the music scene in New Orleans is it's interesting because it's basically like 7 guys that just share different bands together. So it's Phil Anselmo and anything he's involved in. It's Phil Anselmo's the singer of Pantera. So it's like you had Crowbar, Down, which is Phil singing, but the guitar player at Crowbar, the drummer of Crowbar. You have Super Joint Ritual, which is Phil singing, the drummer of Down playing guitar. It's like all these bands that just share members and stuff. And it's pretty cool, but it's like the sludgier, slower Southern rock sound with metal. And I just grew up listening to Crowbar, Soylent Green, Acid Bath, Goat Whore, Super Joint, all that stuff. I just loved it, and I'm working on my own record now, but like when I do my own riffs and I play stuff for Nita, like when I play guitar, she's like, it's people try to emulate that sound, and it's like you have to have this like sleaze to the playing, it's like this really like laid back kind of feel. And it's like it's its own unique thing. So when I left here and I started touring and meeting people in different states, I was always shocked when people like knew who Crowbar were. I'm like, you know who they are? Like they're kind of like my local band, But they started like obviously ascended and became who they were. And it was just cool to hear other bands know who they were. And they've been around forever, but it's like, wow, I watch these bands in these small venues in New Orleans, and how other people know who they are. And it's cool, Very
So
cool.
Is there a correct way to say New Orleans? Like, are we saying it like, is it Nolans? Is it like, is there a way?
I mean, no, there's no way, but you can always tell when somebody is not from. They go New Orleans, It's like New Orleans.
New Orleans. Got it.
One word,
New Orleans.
So kind of in that same vein, I have to ask, because I'm an acting teacher and accent coach, and Cajun and Creole happen to be some of my favorite accents. So can you do a Cajun accent or even a Yat accent? Yat is one of my least favorite, but
those are people that live in Lafayette area that have that kind of accent. I'm not good at that. No, I'm not. I can't. I don't even want to try it because it's so. It's very different.
The way that I like to describe the Yat accent is like if you took somebody who's Cajun, or no, okay, so take somebody from Savannah, Georgia, and somebody from like Brooklyn, and you mush their sounds together. It's the weirdest little accent is Yat.
What's interesting, also people that live in New Orleans, they have an interesting accent too. That reminds me a lot from people from New York when I hear them talk. You know, it's interesting you pick that up. You say that because I've always thought that. I've never heard anybody else say that. It's not like people from New York.
And it's called a Yat accent because instead of asking like, how are you doing? They say, hey, where you at?
Yeah, where you at? Yep.
I love that. It's so weird. I love it.
Yat.
Where you at?
Or Yat. Okay,
Yat.
that's new. Yeah, it reminds me of like my parents being from Pittsburgh and everyth's yins instead of like y'all. It's so weird. Like just Florida yins. Yeah.
Yins.
Yeah. Yinzers.
Huh. That's weird.
Yes, correct. It is very weird. Any like secret hideaways, cool places, maybe off the beaten path that you like to visit whenever you do have the opportunity to go home?
When I go out, like say I'm out in the French Quarter, so the House of Blues is down there, which I saw 1,000 shows growing up. I made so many memories there, which is awesome. But I would take bands out partying to places on Bourbon, and one place that's really cool, it's called the Dungeon, and it opens up at midnight, and you go in, and, like they don't allow phones in there, like you can't bring out your phone, take pictures and stuff, which is great, and they still do that. And they just blare metal, and they have this. I mean, it's great. It's a cool vibe, and people go there and hang out, and it's great. It's a little different than your typical bar, and it's off the beaten path. It's off of Bourbon. And it's a good time. Every time I go there, it's great. You want to hide out, go do your thing, and just be just be in your own thing. That's a cool place to check out.
The Dungeon.
The Dungeon, yeah.
Interesting.
Have you been to a place called R Bar?
Ooh, I know it. I'm sure I have.
I want to say it's whatever that neighborhood is that's just above Bourbon Street.
Frenchman?
No.
Magazine?
Marigny. Right?
I don't think I've Metairie?
Maybe?
Metairie? Metairie?
I don't remember, honestly. But I've been there a couple times. My husband knows way better than I do, but there's this cute little bar that's on one of the corners that's like, it's a dingy little dive that just like, it's all punks and like cool street kids, and like it's a cool little place.
That describes a lot of bars in New Orleans.
Yes.
A lot of bars stay open. They don't close, So like I got used to a very different way of going out, compared to like other people I've met, in my life, because I'm used to that New Orleans kind of style of drinking and partying, which is like you stay up late. I mean, super late. My friends like in LA and stuff, when I go out, they're like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? It's the way I've always, I'm wired that way, So it's a different way. It's a different style. When I bring friends of mine from like New Orleans to meet my friends in LA and they see them drink, they're like, whoa, like this is crazy. It's a very different culture for sure, drinking wise.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, yeah. Like if I'm in bed by like 10 p.m., it's a great night for me.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, bedtime. Oh my God, watching Wheel of Fortune, going to bed. Oh, what a life I live.
And I have to pick and choose when I can do all that stuff. It's like, oh, tomorrow I don't have to do this. So yeah, today I can drink, or go out for myself. So
that's the adult way to do it. And I respect that very much. So speaking about like New Orleans and everything, like, is it kind of like, because I've never been to like a Mardi Gras. I haven't even been to one at Universal Studios, which I hear is fantastic. But like, is that kind of like embedded, like just in your life? I mean, you're mentioning this late night party atmosphere. Is that just something that you grow up with, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I started going out, and it's crazy because like when you see kids these days, I mean, they look young when you see a kid, right? And I was going out partying when I was like 14, 15 years old on Bourbon Street. And that's kind of how that's how I got into the music industry. So at 14, I guess I would go into this story real fast. when I was 14 years old, I always wanted to be in the music industry. I saw Metallica when I was 9. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So I'm at the Superdome where Nita ended up playing at WrestleMania. So there's this whole like lineage of stuff that happened. And Saints are my favorite team. So being there, it's just a lot of cool things in there. But anyway, saw that, wanted to do that, didn't know how to get in. I always would go to shows and know there's a way to get in this. I just don't know how. And in New Orleans scene, nobody really at the time was connected with the music scene. So I had no mentors into that world, but I knew that like the next local band was a big band somewhere. So I would get this magazine that came out once a year. It was called Musician's Guide to the Music Industry. And in the magazine, it had every record label, every manager, everything, every venue. I'm like, okay, well, lawyer's not going to want to talk to me. These labels are going to talk to me. I was like, the next big band is a local band somewhere. So I would come home from school, highlight places that booked rock and metal, 500 and over capacity. Then I would call them up and say, hey, I'm writing a paper for my college. I was not in college. I was in grade school, saying that I wanted to write a paper on the biggest local bands in the area that were selling out the venue, but weren't signed. So they would give me the names. I'd write them down. I would put in my AOL hours and listen to the music. And if I liked the band, I would email them. And so at this time, there wasn't Facebook, Instagram. So they had no idea what I looked like. So I was just the guy like, and at this point, I was already going out. I already had this kind of plan in my head. So I made friends with a lot of the bar managers and stuff on Bourbon Street. I'm going to bring bands in town. Let's come hang out, whatever. It's like, yeah, bring them by. So I would contact these bands. They would send me their music, or I listen to them. Like, cool, man, I love this stuff. Get to my friends, and so they get signed. They go on tour, and they go like, yeah, man, like we're coming in New Orleans. Come hang out. I'm like, oh shit, cool. I'm like, oh wait, they're gonna have to meet me now. Oh no. So I'm like going there and like knock on the blue bus. Let's just say. So I would go there, and this happened every time. Go down there, and I'll just knock on the door, and the door cracked. Yeah. I'm like, I'm looking for so and so. And in my head, the day played out like this. Hey, man, oh my God, we have this guy, Josh. He's going to meet us down there, man. He has all the hookups in New Orleans. We're going to go party. And then so they open the door. The guy's like, Josh? I'm like, yeah. And then, okay, hold on a second. And I can imagine them going, hey, that guy, Josh, you're talking about, he's a fucking kid. He's sitting outside. And you sure this is the guy you're talking about? And every single time they would open the door back up and go, like the Josh, and that's why my handle is the Josh V, because that's where that comes from. So every time they open the door, like the Josh, I'm like, yep, that's me. And they're like, okay. So I'm walking up the bus, about to make the turn, and I can hear Josh, man, so happy here. As soon as I made the turn, every time I'm like, Josh, like, holy shit, you're a kid. I'm like, hey, here's a bottle of Jack, guys. I got you guys to go to the bar afterwards. Okay, cool, guys, let's take a shot. All right, see you guys later. And then they're like, I could just tell they're like stunned. I'm like, yeah, let's go. All right, go in the bar. I walk in. So it was like, this kid looks young, but he knows all these people. This is very strange. So it was like a kind of don't ask, don't tell policy. And bands started would contact other bands to tell them, hey, when you go to New Orleans, meet up with this guy, Josh. And then from there, I was like, well, I play drums too. So I'd make a video of myself playing in my room. And I put it on the VHS and give it to band members. I'm like, hey, man, I actually play. They're like, oh, you play? So my name started circulating that way. And the first person to ask me to play drums for him was actually Vanilla Ice. And I was 17 years old. And he was like, we should jam together. Would you be my drummer or whatever it was? And I was like, I'm in high school, man. I was like, what? But like, we're like in House of Blues. I was like, I was 15 then. Yeah. Pretty crazy. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door and started finagling my way.
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
Shout out to Vanilla Ice. My favorite song of his. What is it? Go Ninja, go.
Ice Ice Baby. I mean, I don't know.
It's a good one. It's a good one. But I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song very much.
Yeah.
That's
how things go forward. That's how I actually met the guys in Disturbed. Through going on that, hitting them up on email. I would see what bands are doing what. Their email was disturbedchicago@hotmail.com. And when they came in town on their first tour, they hit me up to come hang out with them. And I stayed in touch with them ever since. Fast forward, 21 years later, we do a song together that goes #1. I mean, it's just
It's so nuts.
It's serendipitous, and like you're a hustler, and it's like inspiration for people, not necessarily just in the music industry, but in any industries. You can hustle even from a young age. You know, I think that's really awesome.
And you can make your own path. Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole thing was like, and I'm still this way. Like, you know, if you have an idea, plan it out, figure it out, and create a roadmap to it. If the front door's not open, knock it down or go around and find another way in. And there's a wall there, go over it, under it, or through it. And that's kind of how I live my life, you know? So,
and I think a lot of people are fearful of that. People are fearful of rejection, but it's just part of the process, you know? There's going to be a lot of it. So
yeah, it's just it just strikes me as odd of people that fear rejection, in the sense of like, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody's going to tell you no, you know, or not right now. To me, that's like not right now, or it's a good idea, but I'm not really fully sold on it. Okay, how do I sell you on this? Mm-hmm. Or how do we make this happen? Because in all actuality, unless it's a crazy idea or cost somebody a ton of money, if you lay it out correctly, nobody should say no to much of anything. It's just how it's presented, you know. So
fair, great advice.
Talk.
Thank you for that. Well, speaking of being a hustler, we also have to mention, of course, the shirt that you're wearing from your brand, Beverly Kills. So was this always part of the process too? Were you like, okay, music, designer, like how did the two come together?
Everything in my life has like come together as an accident, you know, planned, but an accident in a lot of ways. Beverly Kills was actually the name of it was there for a long time, and it was basically how people get lost in the seek of fame and fortune, and how they are, you know, the people are like willing to slit somebody's throat to get 1 inch forward in life. And people lose themselves in this, you know, I want to be famous right now mentality. Everybody wants to have the notoriety, but nobody wants to put in the work to get there. So I had always seen this, and you know, moving to LA, of course you see it there, but you see it in all walks of life. I noticed it happening more often when reality TV started becoming really popular. And once that happened, now it's like the Instagram and the influencers. So it's shifted. It's the same thing. But you notice how people do that. So I called it Beverly Kills, but I ended up doing a DJ drummer project. And I was doing it with the DJ of UFC. And I was doing UFC after parties. So we do an hour set. I was doing another DJ before, and then he left. And then this is right when DJs dropped the name DJ whatever. They dropped the DJ from it. So a lot of egos were happening in this moment of time. And what made me like go full force with creating a brand from it, I was actually sitting down with DJ Lethal of Limp Bizkit. And he was supposed to jam with me on this whole thing. And he was sitting in my place, and he was just like, so I was like telling him about this thing. Hey, we're going to do this thing. I have this UFC event, and after party, we're going to do it. He's like, what's the name? I was like, Beverly Kills. And he just was so fixated. He's like, Beverly Kills. Beverly Kills. That's awesome. I'm like, all right. Anyway, so like, let's, you know, okay, get moving with the music. He's like, Beverly Kills. He's like, man, that's a clothing brand. I'm like, yes, I do plan to do t-shirts about this, but it was going to be a whole theme thing. And then he left an hour later or something. I was like, close the door. I was like, I'm going to do this as a clothing brand focus. And that's how I did. I designed 100 designs, and I narrowed them down. I'm psychotic. So I narrowed them down, and then I actually put them all on poster board, and I invited different people in my friendship circles of different walks of life. And I would mark it down like a number, and I'd walk by with them. Which one do you like? They'd pick it, and then I would narrow it down. And that's how I released the first 10. And when I released it, it was just like I don't know what it's going to do. And 3 months later, Johnny Depp's wearing it, and it blew up. And then I had to go backwards and learn how to actually run a business and how to actually do all this stuff. So,
yeah. Well, clearly you learned.
Yeah.
You're doing the thing. That's pretty amazing. Yes. And I love the name. I think the name is just, it's so easy. It's like easy to remember, right? And I think that always makes for the best products, is something like super easy to remember. Beverly Kills.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's cool because like I wear it out some, times, and I never tell people like, oh, I own it. I don't do that. But what's cool is when people see it, it creates an immediate reaction. It's very weird. People have this when I wear this shirt or the Stay Humble or Be Humble shirt that Johnny Depp wears and other people, or the logo shirt. People like, that's an awesome shirt, man. Absolutely, that's cool. Like I was at the gym one time and Will I Am came up to me. I was wearing this one, and he was like, man, that shirt's fucking awesome. I was like, huh? I was like, sure, man, that's awesome, man. And like it happens all the time. I was like, cool, you want one? And then I sent him one. But it's just it's cool because people that get it, they get it. Especially people that are really successful. Like I've had long conversations with Johnny Depp about the brand, and he's just like, I live this. He has been surrounded by people that got lost in the whole shuffle of the money and the fame, and they get it. Stone Cold Steve Austin, when I first talked to him, he loved it. And he brought it up to me on the phone. I was like, what? Like he knows about this? I was like, yeah, it's about this. He goes, dude, I get it 100%. I was like, wow, okay, cool. So I was like, hey, if I bring one to you, would you like to have one? He's like, hell yeah. I was like, hell yeah, from Stone Cold? Holy shit. So pretty cool. It's like one of those out of body experiences where even when I see him, I'm like, man, I came up with that. That's pretty cool, So
wow.
It's cool to me because it came from a negative personal experience in my life that I went through, and to see how it affects others, because I get emails and people like, I went through this, I went through that, and this shirt is like my kind of like their badge of honor, their shield in some ways. And I've never even put that out there. So it's cool that people resonate with that without even putting anything out there. It's cool.
Their own interpretation of it, of how it, is part of their life, and also different people from, like you said, people that are in film, in music, and everyone in between. It just makes sense for them. So very cool.
That's probably the thing I love the most about it. How somebody can take it and it's personal to them in their own way. It's almost like a song. Kind of same thing. Music goes hand in hand, so it's cool.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love everything about it.
Thank you.
Danica?
Oh, okay. Well, I have to ask because when I discovered this, I was very excited. But that you're one of the few people to play live with Six Mafia.
That's true.
I just live in Memphis, so they're the homegrown superstars.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious because I saw an interview where you talked about working with them, and it was like that they have such a different vibe from the rock scene, where it's they're super laid back, and it's it was all jam sessions effectively on stage. So I was kind of wondering if you miss that vibe, if you prefer to kind of go more towards that again, or if it's kind of embedded in the rock stuff now. So I'm going to keep with that.
So there's a happy medium, right? So at that point in my life, I'm still trying to put my own band together. I was very actively working on my own record last year. And this is are you familiar with Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy? It was a record that they were working on for 20 years. Mm-hmm. This is my Chinese Democracy. So
okay.
A long time coming. Mm-hmm. I put a lot of time last year into it. I worked with Dave Draymond and Disturbed on a couple songs. I've worked with a couple other great producers. I've really taken my time and have done everything for it. Wrote the lyrics, wrote the melodies with the producers, did all the music, did all the guitars. So everything is I'm very, very proud of it. When I was doing this years back in LA, this one of the versions of my band, in the rock world and in bands in general, there's this thing that people just want to always take control of stuff. And I get it. People are artistic and they want to put their stamp on it and all that stuff. But sometimes people don't know where the boundaries are of bands and music and stuff like that. When you have somebody that's taking care of everything, it's kind of cool to just be in the same car and not fighting for the steering wheel, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody always has to drive the car. Some people have problems with that. So there's always these issues in bands where people are arguing about either the direction of the music or, doing this and that. It's always a lot of crap. And it depends on who you have around you, how much you can deal with it. And, it's always some kind of drama or some issue. So at this point in my life, I was having my band and it wasn't going good. And I'm like, how did I get in this position when I'm the only person that didn't audition for this band? This is really crazy. So I was just kind of like, okay, you guys take over. And I had a lot of, in my past, had a lot of bands ask me to play with them. I always turned it down because I always wanted to do my own band. So at this point, I was like, you know what? You guys take over, do whatever you want. Tell me when you want to rehearse. You book a show, I'll be there. I was like, you know what? The next person that asks me to play for, I'm going to take it. For the first time, I'm going to say yes. So we played a show in Hollywood, and actually I had met the 3-6 guys like probably a week before that. I know you're playing LA, we're gonna come check it out. Cool. They came to the show. Afterwards, they're like, you're gonna be our drummer. I was like, okay. So that was that. And the next time I played with them which was the first time. Actually, I did one song with them in New Orleans during Mardi Gras time, but they're like, okay, we're gonna next week come and do a show with us. It was the Beale Street Music Festival in Memphis. Now at that time, I didn't really put two and two together. Like I knew they were from Memphis, obviously. I've always known who they were, but I didn't think about how it was like their hometown and this whole thing. So there's no set list with them. So it's just literally what song comes out, you have to just know it.
Nice.
I played Beale Street Music Festival with them. They left. I was kind of hanging out with people. I went back to the hotel at the Peabody there, and then I walked in the lobby, and I got a standing ovation. I was like, what? And they're like, all their hometown friends are like, that's the best I ever seen them. It's so cool to have someone like you. I was like, oh shit, this is cool. Carry me in a chariot, you know what I mean? Like it was a cool feeling. But like playing shows with them, you know, in the rock world, and the other drama thing comes up, it's always like, you know, you messed up here, and oh, you missed that note there, and you didn't do this. It's always some stuff like that. And when I did shows with 3-6, it was like our backstage was like a hangout, a lot of partying in the sense of like drinking, alcohol was around. And I like to take myself like serious before I play. I don't like to drink. I don't like to do any like just. I like to be focused on the show. That was more of a hang, and I'm like, oh, going on stage in 2 minutes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I forgot about that. Hang afterwards, and afterwards, I'm like, hey man, in this song I messed up this. Or like, what are you talking about? Like, messed up this part. They're like, dude, we're just here to have fun, man. Don't worry about that. I was like, oh shit, that's right. That's the thing about music. You're there to have fun, and that's what gets lost in bands, and especially in the rock world. It's like I love to be serious. Trust me, I love to be serious when it comes to music and business, and you know, being on stage. And being on stage is part of your business, but at some point, it's also, man, remember to have fun, because once the fun is taken away, you lose your love for it. You know, so there's a fine balance though, because the shows with them were pretty wild in the sense of like just hang out and whatever. Oh, cool. I mean, have a shot or two, and I'm like, oh shit. Now I'm kind of like, I like feeling like that before I play. You know,
Right.
So yeah, it was cool. It was a very cool experience.
The more I hear about them as people, the more I love them. And, you know, it's like one of those, I didn't think that was possible. They're just so cool. I actually had a friend that was dating one of their sons, and I was like, oh my God, they're old enough to have children. They're grown. And I was like, oh, I'm old.
And it's funny because like when Juicy was thinking about doing his solo stuff, actually, I just digitized a bunch of videos that I have through years and years. Actually, the first time I met Vanilla Ice, I found it on video, going through my stuff, and we're drinking backstage at House of Blues New Orleans. But one of the videos I found too was when Juicy was trying to do his solo thing. He asked me to fly with him to Virginia to go meet up with the producer Lex Luger to do his first solo thing, which was Rubber Band Business 1. And so me and him were the ones that went out there, and I'm like, yeah, dude, just you should do your solo thing, man. Like, let's go do it. Why not? And so I went with them. He did it, and that's what kind of led him in the path to where he's at. And the first shirt that he did, We Trippy, man, I came up with that with him. I put that together. Yeah.
Very cool. Damn. Kind of going back to what you're talking about, the love of, being part of it. I think this year I went in with the mentality of trying to live in the moment more for literally everything that I do. 'Cause sometimes I get so lost in the, okay, you know, I still have to go from here to there. By the time I get there, am I going to still want to do this? You know, am I going to appreciate it as much? So I'm really trying in 2022 to just appreciate literally everything, you know? This
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Well, if you
yeah.
look at like, you know, God, it's crazy to think like it was what 2 years ago the whole pandemic stuff has happened, right?
Mhm.
Like I was praying for like a shutdown. Let's just put it that way in my life. I was so overwhelmed with 8,000 things that I wanted to do or was doing at the time. I always felt like I was, you know, above water trying to breathe, you know. So I was like, Jesus Christ, I just wish things would just shut down for a minute. Life would just slow down. And then boom, it happened. I'm like, yes. I was, trust me, like besides all the, yeah, you know, people got sick and died. That part sucks, obviously. But for me, it was the perfect mental reset for me. And with like Nita and stuff like that, like I always tell people, like, listen, the best times in life, everything in life has an expiration date. That's the sad part. The the best times in your life, they're gonna come to an end. But so do the worst times in your life. The bad times that you have in your life, they're gonna end too. So just learn how to embrace where you're at in the moment and appreciate where you're at because you're never going to be in this moment of time again, right? Sounds like new age, but it's the truth. So every moment of what you're doing, appreciate it, live in the moment for what's going on now. And that's helped me just appreciate where I'm at. Like, can I find things to complain about? Yeah, I'm sure, like anybody else. But to be honest with you, man, life is fucking great. You know, I'm happy as hell. Everything I want to do, I'm doing. Everything I've wanted to do in my life, I'm doing. So it's what can I complain about? You know.
Fair enough.
Wow. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let's slip by. So, Danica, let's each ask one more question, then we'll go to the game.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So we
You want
love
me to go?
asking musicians this one, but is there an album in your collection that you think people would least expect you to have?
An album? Probably not an album, but I think the thing that it, you know, like it's not like I'm embarrassed by it because people are like, whatever, I listen to it, but like 80s music, like the really cheesy 80s music, I fucking
It's
love
good.
it.
It's
I
good.
love it. Not like
Yeah.
Duran, like not that kind of 80s. Like I'm talking about like Mr. Roboto and Caribbean Queen and
Oh,
that
wow.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I love it. I
Billy
love
Ocean
it.
and
Billy
yeah,
Ocean, yeah.
Bix,
Love
yeah.
all that stuff. And I could just I just go in my car, put 80s hits, and I just listen to it because it brings back great memories, but it also reminds me a lot of movies. And I speak in a lot of movie quotes with my band and friends and family. So it's just like, you know, I
Oh.
watch Weekend at Bernie's and Just One of the Guys multiple times a month, multiple times. So
We know what you mean. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Danica and I only talk to each other in like Monty Python, Mystery Science Theater, and like that's pretty much all we got. But it's funny, yeah. Like a song, especially from the '80s, that I can listen to that turns my mood around. Blinded Me with Science. Who's that? Thomas Dolby.
Of course.
Classic. So
I
good.
love that. Yeah.
Science.
What's science?
That like style of 80s, like when I like listened to it, you're like, what? You listen to this awful stuff? I'm like, hell yeah, this is awesome.
Give me the synth, baby. Like, let's
Yes.
go. Oh,
Yes.
amazing.
All day long.
So, okay, before we get into the game, obviously, like you're an entrepreneur, you're a musician. I was gonna say magician too. Sure, we'll throw that one in there. So obviously, you're great at a lot of things, but what is something that you are terrible at?
Anything building stuff. I'm awful at that.
So don't take you to IKEA. Like
no, I'm awful at that. Like I am the worst at building stuff. Like I don't have the patience for it. And when I do it, it just never comes out right. It's wobbly or it just takes really long to do it. So it's one of the things I am not good at all.
You are not Josh
Fair
the
enough.
Builder. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, works for us. Me too. Yeah. I never want to follow the instructions. I always want to think I could do it better myself, but you know, it's not how it works at all. Okay, Josh. So we have a game. This is a game of would you rather. There's no wrong answers. Whatever you pick is correct. So let's do the first one. So the very first, would you rather join the Avengers or join the
Avengers.
Justice League? Okay.
Marvel. I'm Marvel all the way. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a big DC person. I'm just not. I feel to me their main two characters are Batman and Superman, and they just rehash those movies over and over and over. And I'm just gonna say on the record right now, did you guys see the new Batman?
Not
Yes.
yet.
And I did see your Instagram stories, but please go ahead.
That movie was awful. Holy hell. That movie was so terrible. Like it just kept dragging on and dragging on. People want to talk about Metallica. It was like the same
Oh my God.
of Metallica records. Metallica is my favorite band.
Uh-huh.
Listen to that record, you're like, okay, they could have cut out this part in the song. They could have cut out that. The production could have been better, whatever. That Batman movie is the same anger. And why? Right when every time you think it was going to end, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Again, it just kept going and going.
What is it, like 3 hours or something insane?
Yeah.
And literally
it's
halfway
yeah.
through, I looked at Nita. Nita looked at me. She fell asleep. With our whole band and crew, we went to the movie. What a waste of time. But she was like, "You're not gonna believe this." I was like, "What?" She's like, "There's still an hour and a half left." I was like, "What? No way!"
But
3
on the
hours
upside,
long.
she did get to take a nap, and I approve of that because naps are wonderful. So,
Well,
you know,
guess what? Majority of our band and crew took naps during that movie.
Good
So
call.
and I
Good
mean,
way to spend
if
now.
Batman loves Nirvana. That's something I learned very much. He's a big Nirvana
something
fan.
in the way. Yep.
Yeah, I liked Andy Serkis. I'm a fan of his from everything. I
Oh.
just think he's so cool.
Yeah.
But I hate to say it, not my Batman. I'm Michael Keaton all day. That's my dude.
Now we're
So,
talking. You know
yeah.
what's up. And
Yeah.
I will say I did like the portrayal of the Penguin in this. I will say that was
Yes.
the coolest, like little
Oh,
twist.
Who plays
thing
that
on-
again?
Colin
Colin Farrell.
Farrell. And that makeup application or the special effects was spectacular. So that's the takeaway. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is pretty brilliant. All right. Miss Danica, you want to read the
All
second
right.
one?
Okay.
No
Would
more
you
Batman questions. don't worry,
rather- Yes.
Unless it's about the first two, and then we're good.
so- Okay.
All right. Would you rather take a punch from Mike Tyson or take a kick from Conor McGregor?
Take a kick from Conor McGregor. Absolutely.
Really? Ooh,
Yeah.
what sounds
Mike
like the
Tyson
worst thing
just-
I can imagine?
That's one of the things that I do when, like, if I'm working on something or just put stuff in the background. YouTube, Mike Tyson knockouts, and just I have it in the background, and you can just see when he hits somebody, like their soul just leaves their body. You know what I mean? It's like boom, like whoa, 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 and like they have lost the will to live at that point. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, can
that
you
was
blame them?
brutal, man. Very
Yeah.
brutal. If you ever get bored, look up Mike Tyson workouts. His training videos, the way he hits a heavy bag, it's frightening. Frightening. So
And still, like, that's the scariest thing.
oh yeah.
Still.
I've met him a few times, and you can tell he's like a walking pit bull. You know what I mean? Like at any moment, you're like, man, it's very nice and very cool, but at any moment, you know, he can like flip the switch. So that's the part that you know he still has it.
Okay.
Well, I gotta
All right.
say, yeah, I'm not afraid of Conor McGregor because my husband gets mistaken for him a lot, and I'm like, no, that guy's fine.
Conor McGregor. Love him. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather play the first rock concert on the moon or play the first rock concert under the sea?
I will tell you on the moon, and I don't know why. I just don't like being in water. Yeah.
You're not an ocean guy?
Mm.
Me neither. I'm not, because my brain, when I
Jaws?
think about the ocean, no, it's not even Jaws. I just think about people that are in it, not just people, bodies, and just
I mean-
animals that are in the water. And
There's a lot of death in there.
I can't get past it. And
Yeah.
I tried. I can't do it.
I don't know why. And we went to the coral, what is it in Australia, the Great Barrier Reef, right?
Yes,
yeah.
that's the one.
So we went there, and I was like, okay, let's go down here. I thought I could do some scuba diving or some scuba diving. Man, I did not like having them. I felt like I was like somebody was suffocating me, and I did not do it. And I don't know where that came from. it just, for some reason, I just don't like being in water like that. It just, ugh. But whatever. But yeah, on the moon.
On the moon it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. All right. Next one is: would you rather do the soundtrack for every Nick Cage movie, or do the soundtrack for every Gary Busey movie?
I would have to say probably Nicolas Cage because he's weird, strange, and I know more of what movies he's done. Gary Busey, I don't really know much he's done. I know he was in Black Sheep.
Buddy Holly's story, I think, was the big one.
Yeah. I don't know many Gary Busey movies. He's a strange guy. I know that much. But Nicolas Cage, he likes dark and ominous, so I would probably want to do the soundtrack for those.
Do you have a favorite Nick Cage movie?
Ooh. What would it be? Definitely not Ghost Rider.
Okay. Fair.
Name me a couple. Let me jog.
Okay, so my favorite that he filmed back to back was From Face Off right into Con Air, which are both phenomenal, fantastic.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah. Face Off.
Face Off. It's good. I mean, come on.
This is the second Nick Cage conversation I've had today, by the way. But because have you seen this new trailer for his new movie? It's like Nick Cage as Nick Cage.
Yes, I saw it somewhere. I think I saw it.
Oh my god.
Is it bad?
Watch it. It's going to be the greatest thing you can imagine.
I think it came on before Batman, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Have you ever seen his tomb? You know, he's like super into everything New Orleans, right? So he bought a place down here that was like haunted.
Oh shit.
And he like collects like really weird relics that like supposedly like cursed him and all this stuff. But he has this gigantic tomb here in New Orleans at a cemetery here, and it's a big pyramid. It's like tall and huge, and Nicolas Cage. So that's where he's going to be buried.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course.
Pretty crazy. Look that up.
Yep. Certainly
cool.
will. But I'm still a big fan of his. I think he's fantastic. He's waiting to get the Declaration of Independence. Fair enough. Okay. Here's the next one. Okay. Would you rather have to listen to Don't Fear the Reaper for 24 hours straight? So this is like
back to back.
Yeah. Or listen to When the Levee Breaks for 24 hours straight.
Probably Don't Fear the Reaper. You know? Yeah, probably Don't Fear the Reaper.
It's a good drum line. You can get into with the cowbell. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot that you can listen to every time.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of exactly. That's what I said. There's a lot of different things that you can play off of in your head.
Yeah, Levy is kind of, it just keeps, it's the same.
Straightforward.
Yeah. Love it, but once.
It's great once.
Once.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
All right, Danica.
All right. Would you rather only play an electric drum set or have to play a different drum set every time you play?
Ooh. That's kind of like the weird things. Like I had to we just did Shiprocked, and my drum set is very like, for most drummers, it's very weird. It's very wide because I play very like animated, gorilla style. And then also my kick drum, and I have one instead of two, but most people have it on the right side. Mine's on the left side. So it's a very different setup. So on this Shiprock thing, I had to use the kit that they had, and it was very awkward. And I don't like using new kits all the time because it's just, I've seen parts of it. I'm not a Will Ferrell fan, believe it or not. But Step Brothers with the drum set thing, like, did you move my drum set? Did you move? Like, that's how most drummers are, especially me. And it's to do that every night would just drive me insane. So an electronic drum kit, Roland, sounds good and plays the same way every night, I will do that.
It's electric.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. We got a couple more. I think we have 1, 2, 3 more. Okay. Would you rather own a drum set that belonged to Neil Peart or own a drum set that belonged to John Bonham?
Probably John Bonham because I like his swagger and his style of playing. Obviously, Neil Peart's great, but I resonate more with that style because that style of drumming also is very, that sluggish style is very noticeable in the New Orleans music scene style. Mm. So that to me would be like, maybe I can get some of that juju into my playing.
Very cool.
All right. 2 more. Go ahead, Danica.
Oh, me. Oh, boy. Let's see. Oh, gosh. I have to wear full Macho Man attire when performing, or I have to wear Vader's Mastodon helmet when performing.
Shit. Can I just do both?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, for Halloween a couple years ago, I dressed up as Macho Man and Nita dressed up as Miss Elizabeth. And I stayed in character because I could do a pretty cool Macho Man. You know, I would do that and I would stay in character talking to people in Universal Studios Horror Nights. Yes.
That was a very good Macho Man.
I do that with certain friends of mine in the music industry. We have this wrestling fascination. I do Macho Man. And I was in full, like, I had the beard, the spray tan, like, the hair, the bandana. It was spot on. And I even had the Intercontinental belt.
As you should.
But that Vader mask is awesome.
I feel like that would be a little suffocating. I think I would have like claustrophobia.
From here.
Hey, you know what? If I play a show this Halloween somewhere and I had to, I'll probably do a Macho Man.
You should.
I would bring that out again.
And you use Slim Jims instead of drumsticks.
There you go. It's a good idea, actually. If it falls on Halloween, you can hold me to that.
Okay, done. All right, this is recording. So.
Also, just so you know, this is how usually serious I am about this stuff. I do search like eBay often, and I always am looking for like those cool Macho Man like jackets and the hats and stuff like that. So I'm like, because I want to be like head to toe legit.
Yeah.
With costumes.
So where is the best place to look if you're looking for like authentic stuff? Is eBay the place to go?
Probably eBay. You know, but sometimes it's just priced so ridiculous. It's just sits there forever. But yeah, I'm always looking for stuff like that.
Okay, well, all right. We have one final one. This is the end of Would You Rather. Would you rather perform with the first band you ever saw live, or perform with the first band whose album you ever purchased?
Metallica. Number one, perform with the first band you ever saw live. Absolutely.
Wait, so the first band you ever saw live was Metallica?
Yep.
That's not fair.
Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and Faith No More.
Yeah, that's how like
Metallica was on tour on the Black Album, and Guns N' Roses was on Use Your Illusions 1 and 2.
Yeah, mine was Hanson. Like, ooh. I think Metallica is like infinitely cooler.
That's what's funny. When I was growing up, right? Like, I was listening to metal at a really young age. So I was going to all shows 9, 10, 11, 12, my whole life. The kids are like hanging out and like, yo, what did you do this weekend? We had a pizza party. And I was like, I saw Pantera, Pantera and White Zombie. I don't know what you did, but that's what I did, And
I just wish I had been that cool that young.
Yeah, but your brother was like, he took you to Ozfest pretty young.
How but I was like 14.
11? Oh, 14. Yeah, I mean cool. That is cool. Yeah, Danica and I used to work for Radio Disney, so we used to do like the Radio Disney concerts, and that's kind of like how we got to meet all the cool, like
super cool.
Yeah, so awesome. I bet you Metallica was not at any of the Radio Disney shows, unfortunately, but I'm sure that there's versions.
For their sake, they weren't.
Yeah. But Josh, before we wrap this up, I know that there's a pretty huge event that you guys are playing later in the year in September. The Louder, hold on, let's bring up this poster. Ta-da! Louder Than Life Festival. So can you tell us about any upcoming things that you have coming up? And
we start a tour next month with Zakk Wylde and Black Label Society.
Oh my God.
There'll be direct support for that, which is, I'm so excited for that. We've been doing headline tours for a while, and it's great, and it's the fans that come out are awesome, and it's been awesome to be able to do that. But it's time to graduate and, get on, do the bigger tours and play in front of more people and, kind of like play in front of other audiences. So Zakk Wylde was awesome enough to bring us out, and that's going to go from end of April 27th, I think it is, through May 17th. We're going to be on it.
Wow.
And then after that, we started doing the festival. So we do Louder Than Life. We're doing Aftershock later this year. We're doing Upheaval Festival. We're doing a county fair show. It's Disturbed and Just Us direct support. So that's going to be insane. So we're doing a lot of the festivals this year, which is amazing. And for the rest of the year, I plan to just doing direct support slot, or not direct support slot, but opening slots with bigger bands. And we're hopefully going to release the second record this year with Nita. It's being mixed as we speak. Hopefully release a new song soon. And then I'm just continuously working on my stuff, my own band. Hopefully release something at some point this year. Beverly Kills stuff going to happen, and yeah, just staying busy. I like to stay busy. As one of your friends too, Chris Jericho, he stays busy as hell. So I like to. I'm like, if he can do it, or anybody like him, like I look at people like Vince McMahon or Dana White or Chris Jericho. I'm like, I like to stay that busy. So
yeah. Well, I suggest, I know you mentioned just Halloween, the Macho Man outfit, but I say get it out there as much as possible.
Just go to the store. Just go to the store and just get groceries.
We're going to Chili's. Put on the Macho Man Missile outfit. Come on, guys, let's go. I'm into it.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe when we go on tour, I just take it and just go out with it.
Oh yeah.
Do it, please.
Good idea.
Well, before we let you go, we're going to go over our upcoming guests that we have coming up, I guess, what month is this? I guess going into April. So next week we have Tim Russ from Star Trek. He's also from iCarly and Spaceballs. The week after we have Christy from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We're welcoming back Fillmore from Nick Arcade. Yay. And then Tuesday, April 1st, we have John Schneider from Smallville, Dukes of Hazzard. We also have Gary Puckett. We have Dee Wallace from E.T. and Cujo. We're welcoming back Casey Chose from Practical Jokers and David Cook, American Idol. Okay, and I'm gonna have a lot of naps in between that. Yeah, so I can't wait.
Sleep. What's sleep? What is that?
What is that?
Never heard of it.
It's this thing you do when you like close your eyes and dream. But it seems like you're dreaming while you're awake, Josh. So
I like that. It's good.
I just came up with it. It's yours if you want it.
Thank you.
So we recommend do not see the new Batman movie. Don't build things, and all the other stuff. So, Josh. Until we meet again, we will see everybody next week. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Be safe, guys. Don't drink and drive. And we'll see you guys real soon. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.